So I've owned the iPhone 14 Pro for about 10 months now, and the first thing that I did not notice for the longest time was that I actually cracked the back panel of the phone. I don't know how or when I did that. I only noticed it a few weeks ago when I had it off of my phone case. Thankfully, I do have Apple Care, so I'll get that fixed, but easily lesson number one from owning this phone for 10 months is to always put a case on my iPhone. Outside of the crack on the back, that's kind of a rhyme, outside the crack on the back. Anyway, the long-term durability of the iPhone 14 Pro is solid. I've dropped this phone just countless times face first without a case on it, and thankfully it's survived. I know Apple has advertised a ceramic shield coating that makes this phone glass tough, and I've seen it firsthand that it is. If we all can just ignore the crack on the back of my phone for just a moment, the panel actually looks really elegant and stunning. My favorite color by far for iPhones is space gray, so if you're debating a color, I recommend you pick that one. That's just my personal preference. I also like the boxier design aesthetic with this iPhone as well. It just feels nice in the hand. It honestly feels like a piece of jewelry at times. One of the most significant changes though when it comes to the iPhone 14 Pro is Dynamic Island. It essentially bubbles up music, phone calls, and other activities that are occurring in a way that's not distracting and allows you to access quick controls from the app that is taking up space on the island. After about 10 months of using this feature, I have concluded that it is very cool and intuitive, and I would not want an iPhone experience without it, but I don't really think that it changes too much in how I use my phone. That might just be by design, to be honest. It's not meant to be overbearing. It does deliver on the little things to just overall enhance the iPhone experience with the task that I am doing. I emphasize this actually because I don't think this feature is worth upgrading for. It's one of those things that it's just like really, really nice to have, but you could probably live without it, as iOS is already really easy to navigate and multitask with as is. And I actually mentioned in another long-term review of this iPhone that I did not too long ago that I didn't particularly appreciate that I had to long press the island to access direct app controls and single tap to return to the app. It just felt backwards to me. I stated I would have preferred if it was the other way around, but after 10 months of doing this, I can tell you that I no longer bat an eye to it. I pretty much got used to it and it feels natural to do it now. If you live in the US, iPhone 14s are eSIM only and they actually don't have a physical SIM tray. So if you're looking to buy this phone and you want to go with the provider that isn't crazy expensive and has very reliable cell service, I just want to take a moment to tell you about Mint Mobile, who I'm partnering with for today's video. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless plans for as low as $15 a month, which is just crazy cheap, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network, and they can actually keep their costs low because they sell directly to you online, so they're cutting out all the retail stores and the traditional salespeople you would see at other companies. Their plans include unlimited nationwide talk and text, lightning fast 5G, and also the ability to provide a free mobile hotspot. If you want multiple lines, Mint also offers affordable family plan options, as few as 2 lines, and switching to Mint is actually really easy. Thanks to the digital eSIM cards, you can sign up and activate immediately from your phone at the comfort of your own home. If you don't have an eSIM compatible phone and you want to still use Mint Mobile, they will ship you a new SIM card free of charge as well. The entire process takes about 15 minutes, and if you do get stuck on setting up your account, Mint has an excellent customer service team to help you get through it. So if you guys are interested in reliable coverage and fast data for pretty much a fraction of the cost, click my link in the description down below, mintmobile.com/Taryn, or you can also scan the QR code that is on screen right now to get started today. Thank you so much, Mint Mobile, for partnering with me on this video. One thing that separates the iPhone 14 Pro from its cheaper siblings is that it comes with the latest A16 Bionic chip. The regular iPhone 14 just uses an enhanced version of the A15 Bionic, which is a slightly improved chip from the iPhone 13 lineup. If I'm being completely honest with you, I could barely tell the difference between my 13 Pro and 14 Pro in terms of performance. Like, yeah, the A16 does have 50% more memory bandwidth. According to Apple, it also has a faster 6-core CPU and is even more power efficient this time around, but how I use my phone makes these differences not too noticeable, and I would imagine you'd have a similar experience as me. In the simplest terms possible though, What I will say is that my iPhone 14 Pro does literally feel like lightning. It's like blazing fast to use, just like my 13 Pro and even like my 12 Pro that I owned a few years ago. Apple is just so good at making phone chips, arguably the best ones in the world in my opinion. So if you're debating buying this iPhone, an excellent positive about iPhones in general is that they will feel fast for many generations to come after it. And Apple provides 6 years of updates on their phones, sometimes a bit more, but 6 is what's guaranteed. So the iPhone 14 Pro will at least be relevant all the way till 2028. The next thing I want to bring up is the always-on display and the battery life. I continue to love the always-on display and have excellent battery life through and through. Here's actually a quick shot of my current battery health. It's in good shape, as you can tell. My current average screen on time is about 7 hours, which is really good for me in my books. And as for the always-on display, it's funny because I still have people who think my phone is on when I have it laying on a table. It 100% has to do with the fact that you can still see my wallpaper in this dimmed, always-on display state. So people will just mistakenly believe that I did not turn off my phone. So in that sense, I will say some people find it a little distracting. I'm definitely not one of those people. But if you are, you can make it so you can only see a black screen with the clock and notifications. Or if you just absolutely hate it in general, you can just completely turn off the feature and your phone will work like every old iPhone in the past. I personally think though that you should keep your always on display on because I think that it looks great and it shows off your beautiful wallpaper. And it also just helps further distinguish your phone from other people in a crowd. I also love that I can see live activities on my phone in this state. It's really handy, for example, to see how close my Uber Eats delivery driver is on the corner of my eye with the live activity preview without having to actually pick up my iPhone because the always on display is on. If there was something that I've wanted from iPhones for years, it's definitely this. It's been on Android for a long time, and I'm just glad that Apple did it and actually found a way to do it better, in my opinion. And after about 10 months, I have also seen no sign that keeping this feature on ruins my battery life significantly. I know some people have reported that, but I haven't really seen that to be the case. And it's my understanding that when you do have the always on display on, your ProMotion 120 Hz display that is built into this iPhone is clocking down to 1 Hz to save on battery life. And let me repeat that for a second. The ProMotion 120 Hz display. Yep, it is in this phone, just like in the 13 Pro, and I continue to love it to this day. It is just buttery smooth, man. Like it feels like the best high refresh rate display on the market amongst all phones, in my opinion. But you have to be the kind of a person to really appreciate it. Like I've encountered people who barely notice the difference between a 60 Hz panel and a 120 Hz panel. And if they did notice a difference, a lot of them actually didn't care. I assume that you care because I assume you're a tech enthusiast like me watching this video. And personally, if I ever have to use a 60 Hz panel again, I will silently just sigh in my mind at how clunky and slow it feels in comparison. So what I will say is that if this is your first iPhone where you will be getting this high refresh rate display for the first time and you do care about this stuff, it is 100% a good reason to upgrade and think about. Very quickly, the iPhone 14 Pro does also come with crash detection, so it can detect when you're in a fatal car accident and call emergency services for you. And it also can connect to a satellite if you are in an emergency where you don't have Wi-Fi or cell service. And I really hope that none of us have to be in that situation, but I wanted to bring it up because I do think it's cool that the iPhone can potentially save our lives. So if you are more of an adventurous person where you don't have cell service often, or if you just want more peace of mind when you're out and about in the world, this iPhone 100% checks that box. Okay, so the biggest reason to upgrade to the iPhone has always come down to the cameras for most people. This time, I can confidently say that Apple did an excellent job again with the cameras. I'm not gonna go into technicals with all the aperture settings and f-stops about all the lenses, but I will share with you as I'm talking, a bunch of beautiful photos I've taken on the 14 Pro over the last few months, or 10 months, I should say. Thanks to that beautiful 48 megapixel sensor, you can get some outstanding shots on this phone that sometimes make it difficult to justify carrying a traditional camera, and video on the iPhone continues to just be stellar. There was no other phone on this planet, in my honest, humble opinion, that I would shoot a video on more with than the iPhone. It just does a fantastic job in 4K, and you can film in ProRes, and to get even more detail and dynamic range out of your footage, like just look at some of these shots I'm getting right now. They're just stunning and unbelievable at times that a cell phone can get this good of quality. I also love the new action mode, but I don't use it for action like fast-paced sequences per se. I've actually found a ton of use for it when I'm just doing more like panoramic moving shots of my surroundings. It just allows me to move more freely, to capture the area I'm in, and to do like little fancy moves with my iPhone in my hand to get a more cinematic look for my video. Overall, 10 months later, I am as happy as I could be with my iPhone 14 Pro, other than the fact that I completely cracked the back panel. So if you are somebody that's in the market for a new iPhone, I would actually be shocked if you were disappointed with what Apple has to offer here. I really do think that the iPhone 14 Pro is a winner in my books. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Watch my latest video right here, and I'll catch all of you guys in the next one. Peace.